You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Giants, another late inning comeback. The particles are flowing out of the Giants right now as they walk off the Philadelphia Phillies and win 1-0 at Oracle Park. Luis Matos was the hero again as he lifted a sac fly just deep enough to left field to score Tyler Fitzgerald in the bottom of the 10th and win the game. And the Giants bullpen, we got to give them a shout out. They pitched a shutout in a bullpen game. So many guys to shine a light on, but we got to talk about the new guy, Spencer Howard, and his 4 scoreless innings in his Giants debut out of the pen. And with the victory, the Giants secure a series victory over the team that just swept them not too long ago and gives the Giants a chance to return the favor tomorrow. And ooh boy, does it feel good, baby. We'll break it all down. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Wow, man, this Giants team, I mean, do you believe yet? I mean, they're making believers out of me, man. Just a couple weeks ago, we thought this team was dead in the water, especially after all of these injuries. And by the way, the injuries still piling up. Lamont Wade Jr. hits the 10-day IL. He's expected to miss at least a month with the hamstring injury. That's not great, as he's a guy who was on an all-star trajectory for the Giants. Didn't matter. Giants still beat the Phillies today, and we got to start with the bullpen. Eric Miller got the start in this one. He did his job in the first inning. Taylor Rogers comes in the top of the second. He does his job. He pitches 2 scoreless innings. Meanwhile, Zack Wheeler's doing his thing on the mound. He didn't give up a hit for, I think, like the first 4 or 5 innings for the Phillies, and Tyro Estrada picked up the first hit for the Giants in that 4th inning. The Giants only got 4 hits all night long, so base runners were at a premium for the Giants. After Taylor Rogers pitches his 2 scoreless frames, Spencer Howard comes in for the Giants, and he tosses 4 shutout innings. This Giants debut, the former Philly. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on Spencer Howard a little bit later in the show, as I actually have some pretty good background knowledge on this guy, because he's a Cal Poly kid. And if you know anything about Triple E, you know I love my Giants baseball, and I love my Cal Poly Mustangs, my alma mater. Mike Krukow, I mean, John Madden. What else do you want for notable alumni? I mean, the Giants, no strangers to guys that come to pitchers specifically that come to the Giants from the Phillies. Shout out Mike Krukow himself, played for the Phillies, then the Giants, and Spencer Howard following kind of the same path. So nice to see Spenny spinning the ball out there real effectively for the Giants. In the 5th inning, Howard got to strike him out, throw him out to end the inning as he struck out Schwarber. He did give up a bunch of hits today out there on the hill, but he seemed to work around them very effectively. He gave up 5 hits in this one, 4 strikeouts. Again, does not allow a run. Great job by not just Spencer Howard in his outing, but really all of the Giants relievers in this one. The Phillies collected 7 total hits against the Giants relievers. So Tyler Rogers and Taylor Rogers, the 2 twins, both pitched in this game. Both of them gave up 1 collective hit. Eric Miller and Sean Jelly, man. Sean Jelly. We got to talk about the big guy too on the hill. 6'11" Sean Jelly doing work at the end of this one. He pitched 2 frames, pitched the 9th and the 10th. And man, that is some nerves of steel, my guy, to be able to go out there and close this one down the way he did, picks up the win, because Luis Matos, man, he did his job. It wasn't just him either, as the Giants had productive outs that whole inning. They didn't get a hit in extra innings. Didn't matter after what Ramos actually led off the inning, but they intentionally walked him. Flores sac fly deep to center, moves Tyler Fitzgerald, the Manfred man, over to third base with 1 out, and a Luis Matos sac fly to left is just deep enough to get Fitzgerald in, and the Giants win in extras. The throw was not the best throw I've ever seen to home plate to get the runner. And in those tag up situations, those are rarely good throws. That one kind of airmailed a little bit. Real Muto had to leave his feet and jump for that one. Did not bring it down in time. And the Giants walk-off win again. This is the 5th time in like the last week or so that the Giants have won a game that they've either been tied or trailing in the 8th inning or later. I mean, it started all with that Pirates series, and the Giants have been rolling, man. They're winners of 10 of their last 12. They're ever since they won that final game of the Dodgers series. We talked about it then. We said it's really good to not get swept by the Dodgers, and maybe you can get some momentum going into that Rockies series. And lo and behold, they sweep the Rockies, carry that momentum with them on the road, lose a heartbreaker in Pittsburgh in that first game of that road trip. The Giants then go on a terror after that and just demolishing everybody. They come back home, beat Philly twice, man. And this feels so good. The Giants with the chance to return the sweep tomorrow after the Phillies really put it on the Giants in a 4-game sweep. A 4-game sweep just hurts extra bad. A 3-game sweep's bad enough, but a 4-game sweep from the Phillies on a couple road trips ago for the Giants, they were really in a bad way at that time. And this team just feels night and day different from that team then. I mean, the youth has provided such a lift, so much energy, so many good vibes in the clubhouse. And you have to think that these young kids, they don't know any better, for lack of a better phrase. I mean, they not only are they going out there every day to try and earn a spot on the team and stay with the big league squad, but I don't know if when you're that young, if you really know how to get down on yourself when the team's in a bad way like that. You're learning everything. I mean, you got so much coming at you. It's hard to keep track of that as well. Not hard to keep track of wins and losses. That's pretty easy to keep track of, but you don't get lost in that monotony as much. I mean, if you're a veteran and you've been there, done that before, and you're on a team that's in a losing way real bad, it might be kind of hard for that guy to get back up and get himself ready for a game or juiced. But if you're 22, 23, making your big league debut, and you just want to be there, you're just happy to be there, you don't need anything to give you any extra juice. You are ready to go. And this team is starting to have some vibes, man, that it's early. It's the very end of May. We still got a lot of season left to go, but this team is making me think like they got a shot at least at a wild card, man. I mean, they're squarely in the hunt for a postseason slot in the wild card at least. But the Dodgers have been losing games lately. Giants making up ground. I'm just saying, man, they got a striking chance at least. I mean, they're in striking distance of the Dodgers. If they keep them close, they can make this NL West really interesting going down at the end of the season, especially with the pitching the Giants have. They're going to be in a lot of games. Look at what the bullpen just did in a bullpen game against Zack Wheeler. The Giants bullpen stood toe-to-toe. They threw Eric Miller, Tyler Rogers, Taylor Rogers, Spencer Howard, Sean Jelly, and that apparently equals better than Zack Wheeler, which that's shocking to me, man. The former Giants prospect has been on a Cy Young rampage over there in Philadelphia this year. He looks like he's I mean, I still think I got my money on Logan Webb for the NL Cy Young. I'm still sticking with Webby as my prediction for the NL Cy Young winner, but man, oh man, Zack Wheeler is making a case for himself out there in Philadelphia. Go and take a look at his Baseball Savant StatCast page. Almost everything this guy does is phenomenal. Like, there are very few things that this guy is not great at doing. His walk rate is a little high, 7.7%. His ground ball rate, not the best, 43%. But it doesn't really matter when everything else that this guy does is as good as he is. A 29% whiff rate, guys chasing balls out of the zone at a 32% rate. He barely gets hit hard at all, 34.3% of the time he's getting hit hard. It's not like, I mean, this guy's been doing work on the hill all year long. So it was no surprise that the Giants couldn't collect a hit until the 4th inning against him. But one thing they did great is they worked deep counts against Zack Wheeler, and they were able to chase him from the game in the 6th inning. And they made the Phillies use a plethora of bullpen arms in this one. So when we finally got into extra innings and the Giants were able to get into the deeper into the Phillies pen, I mean, the Phillies had to throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in this one. Strom, who's pitched a lot lately, had to throw some innings in this one. Again, he ends up with the loss without giving up a hit. That's rough. That's not, I mean, I'm sure Strom is not super stoked about that. And honestly, I mean, we say this every time. The Manfred man is just complete BS, man. I hate that runner. I hate the Manfred runner. I don't like when games end because that Manfred runner scores. It feels like kind of a cheapy win, but it counts just the same in the span of 162. A win is a win. Put it in the books. The Giants 1-0 over the Philadelphia Phillies at Oracle Park, and it just feels so good to have a chance at a sweep tomorrow. The Giants, we got to mention it. They've been bad with runners in scoring position pretty much all year, and today 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 8 runners left on base. Not great, but the Giants overcome it, get the win, 1-0. Shout out the bullpen for holding this one down. The Giants now 2 games over 500. That's the best that they've been this season all year long, 29-27 as the Phillies fall to 38-18. The Giants hand the Phillies their 3rd loss in a row. First time all year the Phillies have lost 3 consecutive games. The Giants are rolling right now. We'll see if they can keep it going tomorrow and close out this series with a sweep. But we got to take a quick break. On the other side, we got to talk more about Spencer Howard, man. I like I said, I got to know this guy during my time at Cal Poly. I'm wearing the hoodie right now, man. Cal Poly Mustang, shout him out. Ride high, baby. I mean, we got to talk about it. To stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast, we'll be right back, and we're going to talk some Spencer Howard on the Locked On Giants postcast with me, your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. You know, that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that just makes you look really good. That's what I get with Stitch Fix. Easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give the stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want, no subscription required, and they send 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. You know I need that. I mean, look at me. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends just the right pieces and the fit is on point. It's like they have style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look good and feel just as good as I look. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, 1-0 victory. The Giants over the Phillies. I see someone in the chat saying that it's good to see a nice outing by Zack Wheeler. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. It would have been nicer to see that if he had never ended up in the Phillies organization and just stayed with the Giants. Former 2009 Giants draft pick Zack Wheeler, who is just, I mean, he's been so good, man. He's been so good since he's been in the pros. He's been a stud for the Phillies for the last several years. Could you imagine if this guy was a Giant, having him and Webby at the top of the rotation? Oh, man, that'd be so great. But he's not, and we can play the what-if game all we want about prospects. The Phillies could be doing it tonight themselves as Spencer Howard, a key player in tonight's win for the Giants. 4 innings in relief, no runs, pitched longer than any other Giants pitcher in today's game. And this was his Giants debut, was a former 2nd round draft pick by the Phillies. And as I said earlier in the show, I got to know this guy during my time at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, the Harvard of the West, if you didn't know. And Spencer Howard was a Cal Poly kid too. Not just a Cal Poly kid, but he grew up in Templeton. He went to Templeton High, which, if you're familiar with the Central Coast in California, is just north up the 101 from San Luis Obispo. And I mean, I've seen this kid from his first start in college as a redshirt freshman all the way until now. I actually did like a huge feature article on him in college when I was still like writing for work instead of speaking. and I actually ended up winning some awards for that article. So I've gotten to know Spencer many, like through many different occasions in college when he was with Cal Poly baseball. Played for Larry Lee, who is one of the all-time legends of college baseball. I mean, his son, Brooks Lee, is like the number 7 overall prospect in the MLB right now in the Twins organization. And Spencer Howard had the Larry Lee endorsement coming out of Cal Poly. Larry Lee told me that that Larry had no doubt in his mind that Spencer was going to be a solid pro. Lo and behold, he makes his Giants debut, 4 shutout innings. And let me just take you guys all back to Spencer Howard's senior year of high school. This guy almost quit baseball entirely. That guy you saw out there striking out Kyle Schwarber and the strike him out, throw him out. He struck out 4 Phillies today. That dude almost quit baseball his senior year of high school. He almost played volleyball instead. This guy didn't have any scholarship offers, and his coach was going to leave the organization. He was going to leave the high school due to what I was told was some political reasons. His coach, Brad McCumber, decides to come back. Spencer does a 180, decides not to play volleyball. Great choice by Spencer Howard, if I do say so myself, like a multi-million-dollar choice. Ends up playing baseball one more year at Templeton, ends up walking on at Cal Poly. Right there, it's the proximity. He didn't have very many options coming out of high school. He was a one-pitch guy. He had velocity on the fastball back then, but once he got to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, this is a kind of funny little note, but this guy, his first start came as a redshirt freshman on a day when he wasn't supposed to start. I remember this like it was yesterday because I was covering the game for Mustang News, Cal Poly student newspaper. And this guy, it was supposed to be, I can't remember the guy's first name, but it was Smith was one of Cal Poly's starters who was supposed to go that day. He was like their best pitcher at the time. In comes Spencer Howard, and I was so confused. It took me a while to figure out what had happened. I got an unofficial story that Spencer Howard was getting the start because some of the other pitchers in the starting staff may or may not have shown up to a team meeting after imbibing in some cold ones out there on the Central Coast. It's hard not to, man. You got Avila Beach right there. You got Bishop Peak. It's just beautiful all the time. Hard not to have a couple cold ones. You know what I mean? You can't blame a guy for it. Spencer Howard ends up getting the start. This dude strikes out 10. Found out that morning he was getting the start. Struck out 10 in a 1-run game. And he did it all with one pitch. Ends up running with that opportunity. From that point forward, he kind of just became a go-to guy for Cal Poly, eventually morphed into a starting pitcher. He was used in relief a lot, but was a starter at the end of his career in college, was drafted 2nd round by the Phillies, which was, this guy climbed draft boards towards the end of his time in college. He was projected going like the 5th, 6th round for a while and just tore it up his senior year, skyrocketed up draft boards, ends up getting taken in the 2nd round by the Phillies. Highest Cal Poly draft pick that year. Wasn't the only guy drafted. There was a couple other pitchers, I believe, drafted, and one position player from Cal Poly. Shout out Alex McKenna, center fielder Alex McKenna. I think he's still in the Astros organization. This ended up not really working out for Spenny out in Philadelphia. He had some up and down years out there. Comes to the Giants this offseason, was kind of banged around in spring training a little bit. Went and pitched a little in Sacramento. That's where he's been this whole season long. And eventually he makes his debut for the Giants. And look what we got from the kid. 4 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts. And I'm impressed, man. When you're coming up there and you're going against a former team that you used to play for, all these guys kind of know you, like Schwarber, Harper, all these guys know how you're going to want to pitch them. Maybe Spenny had the advantage of knowing how those guys like to hit too. I mean, he struck out Schwarber. Harper, he didn't pick up a hit in this one. Struck out Castellanos. Like, he was doing work against the entire order. You don't pitch 4 innings without going through the order and seeing guys a couple times. So he faced this entire Phillies lineup, mowed some dudes down, and I'm thoroughly impressed with the kid. I'm so happy to, just have a Cal Poly guy in the organization. Mitch Haniger was the only Cal Poly kid in the Giants organization last year. And we all know how the Mitch Haniger tenure went here. I'm still a Mitch Haniger fan. He's my guy, even though his time with the Giants was not great. But this just makes me so happy, man. This just fills me with joy to see Spencer Howard out there on the mound dealing for the Giants in a win. It would have been nice if the Giants could have got him the victory in this one. That would have just made, I would have just gushed about Spencer Howard and talked about him on the show for like 30 minutes out of 30 minutes. But he doesn't get the win. That goes to Sean Jelly, who closed out this game. And Matos, man, more Matos heroics. The walk-off from the kid, the baby Giants getting it done. And we gotta give some love to the baby Giants. And we gotta give some love to Sean Jelly, who had some tough outings recently. He's given up some home runs recently, and he gave up a home run in his last outing. We talked last time after the Giants pulled him out of that game about how Jelly has been giving up not a lot of hits, but when he does give up hits, they turn into home runs at kind of a high rate. Jelly just decided, I'm not going to give up a hit today, and we don't even got to worry about that. So he tosses 2 innings, no hits, only 1 walk, the intentional walk that was issued in the extra innings there. Sean Jelly, bounce back game, picks up the win, looking like tough as nails out there, man. I mean, this guy, when he was called upon in a tie game in the 9th inning to lock it down the way he did, this whole bullpen has been so impressive as of late. In with very few hiccups, and they've been seeing a ton of usage. I mean, you've had Blake Snell injured, you've had Keaton Wynn injured, you've had bullpen games all the time, and you've had a lot of guys going 4, 5, 6 innings from Giant starters, not really being able to get deep into games. This is a bullpen that's used a lot, and they had a really rough start to the year. Sean Jelly has been very good all season long for the most part. He's had a couple of hiccups, as we said. Those home run numbers haven't been the best. But for the most part, this bullpen has really been very, very, very good. Just look at the numbers of everyone pitching today. Eric Miller, who started the season with an ERA like up around 9, his ERA is down to 4.21. Almost 4.20, which would be a phenomenal number to not really ERA rise, but just a good number. You know what I mean? 4.20. I love that number. Taylor Rogers, 2.91 ERA. Spencer Howard, an ERA of 0, and Tyler Rogers, 3.21 ERA. Jelly, 2.95 ERA. This bullpen collectively has been great, and these aren't even like the lockdown guys that we've talked about, that we've given so much love to. This is excluding Camilo Doval. This is excluding Ryan Walker. These guys have been so good for the Giants too. That's I mean, they're not aces, so to speak, but they're not starting pitchers, but like the ace of the bullpen, those are your 2 dominant guys down there, Ryan Walker and Camilo Doval. The rest of these guys are just kind of fill in the gap guys. And they've been playing so great in their roles, really helping the Giants pick up some wins in this one. A great defense tonight by the Giants as a whole. No errors in this one. You saw Wisely make a couple pretty heady plays. There was a time that he got the runner at third when he tried to advance on a ball hit to short, and Wisely got him. I'm not going to sit here and dunk on Luciano, but man, oh man, is it nice to have a shortstop who knows what they are doing. Brett Wisely making a really good case to stay on this team. The best ability is availability, and making yourself available to play like every position on the field. This guy was playing first base, and to be able to play shortstop, center field, he can play second. This is all great stuff from Brett Wisely, and he wasn't able to pick up a hit in this one. He did get subbed out for Tyler Fitzgerald, who ended up scoring the winning run. And we got to give some love to Fitzgerald and Spencer Howard and one other Giant who made their not just their Giants debut, but their MLB debut today. Trenton Brooks. All 3 guys called up today after the Giants put Lamont Wade Jr. on the 10-day IL, and DFA Forever Giant. Oh man, what was McKenna's first name? Ryan McKenna, I'm pretty sure. Oh man, I can't believe I'm spacing this. They DFA'd McKenna and Drew Pomeranz. We didn't even get to see him in his second Giants stint, but both of them Forever Giants. That McKenna steal that set up the Giants win earlier, just a couple days ago. I mean, Forever Giant. He's in the books. Forever Giant. Anyways, Trenton Brooks makes his MLB debut. He did get a little bit of playing time in this one. Did not have a big impact. 2 at-bats. Didn't get on base. He struck out once. But nice to make your debut. In his debut uni that he gets to keep as a Giants, City Connect, and the City Connects, I hate them. I hate the way they look. But my God, the Giants play great in them. So maybe they could wear them every night, and I'll just gouge my eyeballs out or something and just listen on the radio. We got to take a quick break. More to break down in this game. On the other side, Matos and his heroics, man. We got to talk about the young guys and what they're doing for this team. Do you believe that this team's ready to make a playoff run? More on that on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I love the last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, whatever you're into. Maybe you can get in on that for tomorrow's game against the Phillies, maybe see a giant sweep, or we got the Yankees coming to town, man. Maybe you're going to want to get in on that. I know you are. Zone deals are pretty sweet too. If you know you want to go see the Giants and you know you want to sit in a specific spot of the yard, like maybe up on that right field wall in the arcade, or maybe you want to get rowdy in the left field bleachers. Maybe you want to be like the Cal Poly pitchers and have a couple cold ones. You just choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. Save even more money. And of course, you got to love the all-in pricing. Make sure to toggle this feature on to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. I hate surprise fees, so this sounds great to me. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and I'm just going through the chat real quick, and I see someone shouting out Bull's Tavern and Slow, so I just got to mention it. Bull's Tavern. If you know San Luis Obispo, downtown life is awesome down there, and if I'm not mistaken, some of those pictures may or may not, again, this is just hearsay, may or may not have been some of those guys who got suspended that allowed Spencer Howard to start. I think there was something to do with Bull's Tavern in that equation. So good knowledge by DG in the chat. And man, what a job by Matos tonight, picking up his bullpen and Spencer Howard and Sean Jelly and all the other guys who pitched tonight in the process as he lifts a sac fly to score the winning run of this game. Tyler Fitzgerald, the Manfred man, I don't like winning games like that, but I like Giants wins one way or another. Luis Matos was having competitive at-bats all night long. He seemed to be the only guy who could really get any sort of solid contact against Zack Wheeler. And when the chips were down, Matos came through. This guy's been an RBI machine since coming up to the big leagues. I think we've put everything to bed about whether or not this guy is big league ready or not at this point. At this point, we're wondering if Matos and Ramos can lead the Giants to a postseason berth. I mean, it's not out of the question anymore. Giants, I mean, they were what, 6-7 games below 500, and then this streak where they won 10 out of 12 just puts them right back in the mix. All this team needed to do was get the offense going. I'm not going to say they got the offense going in this one, as they only score 1 run on 4 hits. But as of late, the offense has really been producing, especially late in games. I don't got to tell you guys that. All the comeback wins, you guys got eyeballs. But Luis Matos, every at-bat this guy has is competitive. This guy, as I said, RBI machine, especially in these clutch moments, in these late game situations. And we have not had a guy like that on the Giants where when he comes up, you just feel like this game is over. I know for me, watching this game, I felt as soon as I saw Matos step in the box with less than 1 out and a runner at third, I felt like this game was over. I started prepping to do the intro of my Locked On Giants postcast. Luis Matos is one of those guys. I'm not going to go out and say he's like Barry Bonds or something like that in the box, because nobody is, but it's so nice, man, to have a guy come up that you just can rely on, that you don't think is just going to be the same old Giants and not be able to score some runs. The 9th inning was kind of a disappointment. I mean, the Giants put 2 on in the top of the 9th with nobody out, and they couldn't score a run. And man, oh man, that felt like same old Giants, a tale as old as time. Giants with runners on and nobody out can't score. I've heard this story 1 billion times in my lifetime, and I'm 30. And so I've been hearing this for 30 years, probably longer than that, because I was hearing it in the womb too with my parents screaming about this. But the Luis Matos, the way that he just invigorates this whole team, it completely changes the vibe of this whole lineup when he is hitting the way that he is. And obviously the veterans have been contributing. Matt Chapman, Tyro, Soler had an opportunity and failed again. Infield pop-up with 1 out in that 9th inning. That was yeesh. I do think Soler is doing some good things at the plate, or has been up until today. Today he didn't look great, 0 for 4, but I do think he's going to get back on track soon. At least we all hope. But Matos, man, when he's up there in the box in a gotta have it moment, I like it. I feel like he's gonna come through at least a third of the time. Like, I mean, getting over that 300 mark, it feels like more than that. It feels like Matos maybe is not going to come up with a hit in every single do or die situation, but he finds a way to have productive outs, move the runner. This is night and day different from what we felt like when the Giants got swept by the Phillies earlier this season. And yes, we got to address it real quick before the end. Lamont Wade Jr. is hitting the IL. He is going to miss at least a month. Hamstring injuries, those are hard to determine how long a guy's actually going to miss for, but at least 1 month for Lamont Wade Jr. That, I don't know what the Giants are going to do at first. We already threw out the idea of maybe re-signing Brandon Belt. I completely forgot until I saw the SF Giants memes page on Twitter tweet something out about team partial owner Buster Posey sitting up there in the owner's box. This guy once played every single position in a 9-inning game at Florida State. He's played first in the bigs before. What are the odds that we can get Buster down here scooping some at first base? I would really like that. So the Giants, after this 1-0 win, obviously Buster Posey's not actually going to do that. Let's just get that out of the way. But that would be fun, man. There's no rules saying who says no. Who says no? There's no rules saying that we can't do that. So I would love that. I know all the Giants fans would, but we're unfortunately very, very unlikely to get that. I am still curious to see what they do at first base. Brett Wisely is not a long-term solution to like platoon with Lamont Wade Jr. or Lamont Wade Jr. He's out with Wilmer Flores over at first base, who's going to get a lot of the reps. You saw Trenton Brooks start over there today for the Giants. The guy was actually a two-way player in college for UNR, just for your head, just wanted to throw that in there. The Giants, 1-0 winners. Luis Matos gets it done. And I think that he gets it done more often than he doesn't when he's in the box in those moments. And man, I love this kid on this team. He has been such a shot in the arm for the Giants, and they needed it. They were down in a bad way before he got here. And he and the rest of the youth have really, really reinvigorated this Giants team and turned the season around. One last note for you guys. This is going to be our last Locked On Giants postcast for the next few days. I'm headed to the islands, headed to Hawaii for a bachelor party for the homie Justin. We're not going to be here to finish up this Phillies series tomorrow, so I need you guys to go out there and get the Giants a sweep, man. We need to sweep these Phillies, give them some payback for that 4-game sweep that they put on the Giants earlier this season, and I'm going to miss that whole Yankees series, man, and I am so bummed about this. Believe me, I've told my friend who's getting married that this is the absolute worst time he could have ever planned a wedding ever, and that he absolutely needs to consult the San Francisco Giants schedule before his next wedding, which hopefully that doesn't happen. But hopefully this is the only one Justin's got to do. Shout out the homie Justin. And as I'm saying, though, we won't be here for you after tomorrow's game, the last game of this Phillies series, and all 3 games against the Yankees. Man, oh man, am I bummed about that, but I am going to be checking in on the Bird app on Twitter while I'm down there in the islands living the life. I'm still going to be locked in on my Giants, man. I got to stay up to date. I'll be putting out some content on there as well. I'm not going to be doing full post-game shows or anything like that. So if you guys want to give me a follow, stay locked in on the Locked On Giants podcast. My Twitter handle is at Eric, E-R-I-K, Eric with a K, _ENGLE, at ERIK _ENGLE. So no Giants postcast for these next 4 games. We'll come back live Monday next week. When the Giants take on reigning NL champs, the Arizona Diamondbacks. That still feels so weird to say, man. Reigning National League champs. But wrapping up today, Giants 1-0 win over the Phillies out at Oracle Park. Can we please get a sweep tomorrow? If you're going out to the yard, I need you to bring your broom, and I need you to send those sweet vibes all through Oracle Park. Send out those particles, baby. You know they've been just flying around. The vibes are sky high for the San Francisco Giants right now. That's all the time we got for you on the Locked On Giants postcast today. We'll come to you live, not tomorrow, but the Giants do play tomorrow against the Phillies. Wrap up this 3-game set. We'll be coming to you live Monday is our next show. Coming to you live following Giants Diamondbacks on Monday. Thanks for joining us. This is the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.